The vast majority of clone troopers of the Galactic Republic were identical not only in their physical appearances, but also their personalities, with a few breaking that mold beyond those that rose up to become captains or ARC troopers. However, there were a handful of cases of clones either having mutations or being purposefully genetically altered to set them apart from their brothers. In this video, we are going to go over all of the known mutated and enhanced clones in both canon and legends, highlighting the key differences they had when compared to the standard clones in the process. First, in canon we have perhaps the most well-known mutated clones, Clone Force 99, also known as the Bad Batch. Members of this elite group with mutations included Hunter, Tech, Crosshair, Wrecker, and later Omega, all drastically physically different from Jango Fett's appearance, as well as possessing unique attributes. The leader of the group, Hunter, possessed a heightened sense which allowed him to perceive electromagnetic frequencies, making his assessment of enemy movements equal to or at times superior to standard reconnaissance equipment. Crosshair, on the other hand, was gifted with enhanced eyesight and presence of mind, making him perfectly suited for marksmanship, allowing him to hit his targets even under great stress or amid chaos. Wrecker's mutation gave him superhuman strength, to the point of him being able to lift objects as large and heavy as a Republic gunship. Tech's genetic enhancements gave him incredible intellect, especially when it came to technology, as well as a memory comparable to that of a databank. Along with technical knowledge, Tech was also capable of learning and decrypting foreign languages. Then we have Omega, who is physically the most unique of all clones, seeing how she is a female clone. While her full enhancements are not entirely known, it has been noted by Tech that she demonstrates increased environmental awareness, allowing her to see and comprehend things around herself quicker than most. Next we have Echo, another member of the Bad Batch. While he originally did not have mutations or genetic enhancements, he was drastically altered following his capture by the Separatists, which turned half of him into a machine. As a result of his cybernetics, he can now slice into enemy technology like an R2 unit. Additionally, the implants around his head allow him to process technical information at the rate of a computer. Finally, for canon, we have 99. Unlike all previous clones mentioned, 99's mutations did not grant him any special abilities, rather they hindered him physically, so much so that he was slated to be terminated until the Jedi stepped in and saved him. As a result, his mutations hindered his movement, strength, and agility, allowing him to only do minimal tasks such as janitorial work with proficiency. With that said, when it came to fighting, his strong spirit and bond with his fellow clones allowed him to push past his defects and contribute effectively to fight as a last resort. In Legends, mutated and enhanced clones were a bit more common, as the Kaminoans purposefully experimented to create entire divisions of them for special uses. First are the clone assassins. These clones were specifically ordered by Supreme Chancellor Palpatine during the war, whose sole purpose was to eliminate Jedi when Order 66 was issued. As a result, they were enhanced with increased speed, reflexes, and mental fortitude that allowed them to resist Jedi mind tricks. Along with being trained by some Jedi Padawans and Knights to hone their fighting abilities, they wore special armor that allowed for greater movement and were outfitted with twin vibroblades in their suits. Once Order 66 came, clone assassins demonstrated their effectiveness as warriors by eliminating most Padawans and many Knights that they came across. Second are the Null-class clones. They were the first clones of the Jango Fett DNA ever fully produced. These clones had the most experimental and extreme genetic modifications placed in them, and they were initially created by the Kaminoans with the goal of enhancing a human's physical attributes to the extreme, without caring whether they would be compliant to orders. As a result, they were perhaps the most independent and violent clones among the army. These extreme enhancements gave them physical advantage over all future clones who had far fewer physical modifications in favor of obedience. Null-class clones overall were naturally stronger, faster, and sharper than their standard counterparts, with these advantages allowing them to perform tasks thought to be possible only to Force users. Third are the Alpha-class clones. Being more refined and controllable successors of the previous ones, the Alpha clones were not as drastically enhanced as the Null-class ones. However, they still possessed enhancements that allowed for independent thought and physical ability that generally made them outperform regular clones. Fourth, we have the Dark Trooper Phase 0 clones. Following the creation of the Galactic Empire, a few select troopers of the clone army were forced to undergo procedures that saw them turned into cyborgs. The goal of this project was to return the aging clones back to their peak conditions with technological enhancements, increasing their strength and speed with cybernetics. They were also equipped with jump packs which allowed them to hunt down their enemies with ease. While these modifications saw success in the few Dark Troopers that made it onto the battlefield, the project was ultimately shut down due to its cost and the fact that many clones that underwent this procedure committed suicide as a result of being forcibly turned into inhuman machines. For the most part, unintended mutated clones were looked down upon by the Kaminoans, especially those that did not live up to their expectations of a perfect soldier. In one instance, there was a batch of clones that possessed less than 20/20 vision, all of whom soon disappeared and were believed to have been terminated. This was of course prior to the Jedi's takeover of the operation. Another clone known as the Mad Clone of Caecilius had a mental mutation which caused him to go insane. This insanity of his was not noticed until he was sent to battle, where he came to murder his fellow brothers after believing them to be disguised battle droids and part of a test. His mind was so far gone by that point that even after he was interrogated by Republic officers, he simply praised them for doing such a good job of making the believed battle droid infiltrators so realistic of his cloned brothers. His fate afterwards is unknown, but he was likely imprisoned and sent to a mental ward. Other lesser mutations also existed, but they mainly consisted of slight physical differences, such as different eye and hair colors or facial features. Finally, we have the last remaining clones that were created during the later years of the Empire. As the Imperial era neared its second decade, most cloning came to an end due to increased regular human recruitment into the Stormtrooper Corps and Imperial Army. However, a few clones were still produced with extreme experimental modifications. Unlike all the previous clones listed, these clones were instead created through Boba Fett's DNA rather than Jango's, as their original strain had deteriorated too much to effectively produce proper soldiers. Nonetheless, the clones created under these new conditions saw drastic mutations, some so awful that they were lethal. The clones that survived to adulthood never saw a battle, as Boba came to destroy them all before they were able to be released, as he didn't wish to see his father's legacy be disgraced by the Empire that sought to create monsters out of those who were originally supposed to be honorable soldiers. And those are all the known mutated and enhanced clones from both canon and legends. Let us know which of these you found to be the most interesting and what other clone-related videos you hope to see from us in the future.